it happens so often that I find myself in a role of being a translator. You know, it's like one person says something and the other one responds to that in a way that is so obvious that they didn't actually hear the message. They heard a distorted message because they listened to their filter. And we all have filters, so that's unavoidable. But the less you are trained in relational communication, the less skill you have in communication, the more you're likely to fall for the distortions that your filters are providing. So you actually end up being convinced that what you heard was what was said. But what you hear, what you actually hear, is always an interpretation of what is being said. And interpretation is an active process. So, because I have no way of understanding you at all without, seriously, we can call it guessing. We would hope it's qualified guessing. But it's that guessing is what we call interpretation. So depending on not only your words, but also the rest of the communication, which is, you know, the facial expressions and the body postures and movements and all, the whole package, I will make mean something. And I mean, there's lots of research on this, like how and when you look at the research, it's like, it's amazing that we can understand each other at all. But somehow, most of the time, we seem to do. But sometimes we don't, because what I think it means, what I make it means, what I read into what you're saying is something totally different than what is actually being spoken or what is actually happening over there. Because typically what I read into what you're saying is what's happening for you in relation to me. You know, so you say something to me and I hear it as if you're you may ask I'll give you an example of that is one that I use a lot. When I say, if I say, why did you put that there? There are two fundamental ways of understanding what I'm saying. I can understand it as you are actually really curious, or who was the one speaking, that I'm really curious why you put it there, and you know, this interests me, and you know, maybe you have discovered something about, because that's not where we usually put it, and maybe you have a really good reason that I haven't thought of. So that's one way. The other way that it is often understood and often used is, you shouldn't have put that there.
That's interesting.
You know, and sometimes it means, yeah, you shouldn't have put that there.
Interesting.
But sometimes it means, I was just wondering because, you know, I'm really curious. I thought that was an interesting place to put it, and you know, it looks like it could actually work better there, or maybe I'm thinking that you're normally such a rational person, and you've got your head screwed on, and if you put it there, there may be a very good reason that I haven't really picked up yet. But so this is where and that's just a small example, but it's an example that makes the point that you don't hear my message, you hear the message filtered through your own interpretation, your own idea of what's happening over here. So, of course, if things have been going bad between you and I for a while, if we had a couple of days where we're not really friendly, and I say, why did you put that there? You are not likely to think that I'm just innocently asking. And for that matter, I'm not likely to ask in the innocent way. I'm probably just having a go at you for having done it wrong. But so this is, as I said, it's just a really clear example of how communication consists not simply of a message is sent and the message is received. No, something happens in between, along the way. Something happens. And what happens in between is a process where you are guessing, if we call it that, or interpreting the message.